Okay, I think we're all set up. Started. Sorry, that took a little bit. Hello and welcome. Today's stream is brought to you by Chip Star Chocolate. And to answer the question, potato chips and what? Chocolate. You know, that's a pretty common thing here in the grocery stores and convenience stores is potato and chocolate. So this is the cheap kind of Japanese version of Pringles, and they're half dipped in chocolate. So I'll try to avoid eating those on camera, but they will get eaten sometime today. I have no doubt. So yeah, so we're back for another week and on Twitch again. So hopefully that's going to be okay, better. And of course, I'll archive this and then also put this on the YouTube channel. So depending on where you're looking for this, that's where you'll find it. But for a while, we'll just stay on Twitch until they sort out a Japanese server for the restreaming service, and then maybe we can get a decent speed. I tried it before, and the ping was a little low, and it was real jumpy. I think just to get the sound across, the video was like a couple frames a second, if that. And yeah, so that's not going to work as being anything very watchable. So yeah, until that gets fixed, we'll only be in one place. So I'll archive everything everywhere that I can, but for now, that puts us on Twitch. So let's get started. Really isn't any. That microphone is still in a place where I'm hitting it too much, but there we go. How's that as far as, yeah, I think that works. As far as the position for that, I think that's close enough that you'll be picking it up. I'm just afraid I'm going to be hitting it a little more often than I should with my my sleeve there, and you can hear me pushing up my sleeves. The microphone is all right. So I'll try to make an effort to stay a little more centered on the camera. I don't have anything fixed or any positions worked out particularly well yet, so apologies for that. But let's warm up a little bit with a few little pictures. So yeah, so I'm looking for a place to find this. I saw that you know, Twitch has a whole creative, because it's, you know, of course, mostly game streaming, but they have a creative section where people look like they're doing interesting things. So I have to figure out how to be found around there and see how interesting it is to that community. But yeah, it looks like there's a lot of illustrators, especially ArtStation. So I'm not sure if that's mostly concept artists, but web cartoon fit in there, but we'll see. And yeah, so that's kind of the biggest thinking right now. So yeah, it's another freezing cold day here in Japan, and there's much colder places. I mean, where I am now is not nearly as bad as Hokkaido or some of the more northern areas, but I guess for everybody this winter has been pretty terrible. Everyone's freezing and everyone's got the flu. Try to avoid all of that. What is going on here? Angle, I think. All right. Yeah, so I'm thinking also too, trying to find some other things that I can work on while streaming. So possibly the Citizen Spaceman or other projects might find their way onto this channel, even though it doesn't quite, you know, this is specifically supposed to be for abuse cartoons, maybe to kind of fill up a schedule a little bit more. Whenever I'm working, I'll just kind of turn on the streaming, and that'll give me a chance to talk through what I'm doing and keep people kind of up to date on what kind of projects are going on. Because there's possibly another book of the appropriate responses that I want to work on, as well as third volume of Spaceman. I say volume, but it's about 12 to 14 pages, so they're not very substantial. So I'm printing. If anyone hasn't seen it, it's about a 24-page comic, and read left to right. It's in English, and then flip it over, and it's right to left in Japanese, and the stories meet in the middle. So you get about half a comic in a language that you can read, unless you're reading both. And then so once the story is complete, then I'm going to compile them into their own English and Japanese volumes, hopefully hardcover or some kind of nice full color version, because right now the interior is just black and white. It's a color cover, kind of a color iridescent cover, and black and white. So hopefully we can do something interesting with the final finished version, but that's a little ways off. All right, so everything is a little slow today. Podcast editing this computer last night. I filled up a lot of space, so yeah. Restart eventually here. So else. Yeah, so chocolate covered, I guess. And maybe potatoes. I haven't done a potato comic in a while. That always seems to keep coming up. I think one of my earliest in my kind of my daily run, like 2003, 2004, I think I really hit a stride, and I think I had some potato cartoons in that busy run. So we'll try to give that another shot. Goes. Sticking with my potato and chocolate theme. Yes, I was at the convenience store on my way here, and of course, conveniently placed by the checkout was the chocolate dipped potato chips. So, of course, that made the impulse buy. Yes, that got purchased, and they also have peach Coca-Cola now, which I thought might be interesting, but it's actually like cherry Coca-Cola, so it's the cherry flavor on top of Coca-Cola. The peach on top of Coke, even if it's an okay peach flavor, is a little strange. I was surprised that they combined the flavors the way that they did. So I'm not sure if that's in North America now, but in Japan they have peach Coke. Yeah. So what about that? Yeah, I think maybe strawberry might have even been a better choice. I'm not sure. Yeah, Coca-Cola, I think only that kind of European cherry flavor is the only thing that could very well with that. Because I remember lemon Coke, they did lemon or lime Coke. That was okay. Maybe that was a diet flavor, but I think a lot of people put to kind of try to cover up the artificial sugar, they will put lemon or something in their Diet Coke, and so I think that they figured that out and made that a flavor. But yeah, that's nothing that sounds like a great combination. And yeah, peach Coke, I don't know. I mean, if you're traveling here, give it a shot. It's not going to kill you, but it's not amazing. It's a little odd combination because don't know what that is. I don't know what Coca-Cola's flavor is specifically, like what the dominant flavor of Coke is, but it doesn't mix that well with pea. On the strange. X-Lax chocolate. Do here. Bumps on. I've done this better in the well. That's what's going to happen eventually. Is everything that I draw I've already done better in previous versions. There's no point in looking at them. All right. Let's break this off here. Something like that. So let me know in comments if that would be an interesting thing to do, and maybe I need to kind of rebrand my channel a little bit. But if I'm going to be working on things other than the domestic abuse cartoons, maybe I can just broaden stuff out. Just my latest projects. But yeah, that'll be something that may come up soon. Trying to give that a shot and getting more streaming time, because the big thing that I've really enjoyed about live streaming is that it just keeps you on a schedule, and it keeps you you have kind of something that's motivating you to get some drawing done. That's always a good thing. Have a little bit of an obligation so that it doesn't crush your creativity, but it keeps you sitting down and trying to focus. Everybody can always use a bit of that. So there we go. Cool. Mocha chocolate. Yeah, that's got a lot of detail in it. I don't know where that's going to get eyes. Maybe let's get rid of this. Have a little bit more of a surface to put a little face on there. Try something like that. Uh-oh. We've got potatoes. Oh, all right. Okay, let's hold on to something like that. And what else? Move over here before I kind of lose momentum and keep going. Oh, I wanted to watch my meters when we got big things like that going on. I think the drop off the kind of gate on this mic is pretty good. I don't think you're hearing too much of that window noise, but as you can see, right outside is a little highway. So sometimes we get some big construction vehicles and stuff moving up and down it. So I'm not sure how much noise that makes on the stream, but hopefully that's not going to be too bad for you. Uh-oh, I did that again. Sorry. Wait. Okay. Yeah, I've got to be careful, kind of disable shortcuts or keep the streaming software somewhere where I can't do that. I keep hitting a button that's like changing a. I guess I should learn what the scenes are. Yeah, I just don't have enough experience with the software, so I don't know exactly what the keyboard shortcuts are, and if they're similar to something on Photoshop, then I'm switching my brushes, flipping scenes, and moving the little tape and things on the software itself. So I'm gonna have to add a once over. Did I? Yeah, chat is working too in the window, so I'll keep an eye on that. That is up. I can see anybody in the room. All right, so let's keep at it here. I think we got potatoes and chocolate covered, at least for now. So yeah, we're already headed towards the Valentine's Day in Japan, and I guess I haven't talked about that. I may have. I know I did a lot during Christmas. I did a lot of the cultural differences with Japan. But yeah, the thing that whoa, what happened there? The thing that it's funny. So I guess originally in the 30s or 40s, probably the 1930s, I would imagine. The one of the big chocolate companies in Japan, and apologies if I already gone on and on about this. One of the chocolate companies in Japan tried to import the tradition of Valentine's Day to boost their candy sales, and so Morozov, the chocolate company here, brought Valentine's Day, to Japan, and it was still a time when importing. There was still there was desire to kind of import uh, foreign things, and fashion and stuff was uh, interesting and desirable. So they thought they would bring that holiday in, and I'm not sure what state Christmas was in at that time. So they brought in that tradition and said, men, buy your ladies some expensive chocolate for Valentine's Day, and they tried to uh, recreate that Valentine's holiday and sell chocolate, and kind of premium, more expensive chocolate for Valentine's, marketing directly to men. And the it happened. The tradition kind of people were picking up on it, but of course men were not reliable shoppers, and they were just buying cheap chocolate. They weren't buying the expensive stuff to kind of show off or impress the ladies. They were buying the cheap stuff. And what they did to complement, I'm not sure, I think this is just a Japanese invention. So Valentine's Day, February 14th, was chocolate for women. And men were meant to buy chocolate and flowers and things. And the reciprocal day for oh, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. So that didn't work. So men just bought cheap chocolate. So I guess back in the 50s or 60s, kind of during the kind of rebuilding, they tried it again. And instead of marketing to men and saying men buy women chocolate, they flipped it and said women buy chocolate for men. And women were much better shoppers, much better customers for chocolate stores, and they bought very premium chocolate, very showy, gorgeous, and especially if they had some cute packaging or something. They started that tradition. So you bought chocolate for your lover or your boyfriend, your husband, but also like friendly chocolate for coworkers and your boss and people like that. So it was a lot of chocolate sales. So there was the love chocolate, the meaningful chocolate, and then there was the giri choco, the friends chocolate. And so those were smaller, less expensive, but that was a lot of chocolate and a lot of purchase to make. And so when they brought it back, they because they had originally introduced it so that women were getting something sweet, they created the reciprocal day, and this is what I was talking about before. The reciprocal day was White Day, so in March, sometime middle of March, is White Day, and so that's when they started to market the marshmallow. So on White Day, you return the favor. Anybody that bought you chocolate on Valentine's Day, you return the favor by buying them marshmallow. And marshmallow is, of course, a cheap, just all sugar and kind of a child's sweet. So a little bit odd. And I think that kind of hurt. That's as the kind of tradition wore on, I think that kind of hurt it. And women probably started to resent that. So the current day situation for Valentine's Day is a lot of the chocolate makers and the kind of very small premium boutique chocolate shops that are all over Japan or importing things from outside Japan, they have little pop-up shops that open up during Valentine's Day. And so women still line up. They're still good shoppers. They make long lines and buy this expensive chocolate, but now they're pretty much buying it for themselves. So it's an excuse. It's still a chocolate holiday, but women are now buying for themselves or for their friends and just kind of exchanging chocolate with their female friends. And I don't even know if White Day is a thing. I still see it kind of happen, but less and less. They still advertise it, they still market it, and it's more white chocolate now. But it's just not what it used to be in the tradition of exchanging chocolates. I think is very different. And there's also a bit of a tradition of women making something, baking some cookies or cupcakes or something, some little cakes as the gift instead of expensive chocolate to give to their friends and classmates and things, and maybe for younger women. So that might sustain the holiday, is the tradition of making things, and maybe even making things together with your friends for the holiday. That seems like it might endure a little bit more, but it's pretty funny right now. So you just have women lining up and spending hundreds of dollars literally on chocolate, and they're just eating it themselves. Or maybe as a gesture they'll bring it home and kind of offer it to their husband, but I'm sure that it doesn't only get eaten by their husband. I'm sure it's just a box for the house they ordered for the table. So that's that's a funny kind of de-evolution or degeneration of that tradition. They tried to import it and make it work here to help candy sales, and it just didn't happen. It just wasn't going to work. And it's funny though, there's so many things are like that in Japan. There's a lot of foreign food shops, and especially fast food, and different companies try to get into the Japanese market, and some are successful and some aren't. But it's interesting the lengths to which a lot of these companies have to adapt or adjust to make the transition, or to have a lot of wide appeal to the Japanese customer, Japanese palate, and kind of fit in with what people are expecting, or just be exotic enough or international enough that it compels people, or gets a lot of business. I'm still completely shocked that Krispy Kreme donuts is in Japan and it's still operating. I'm not sure how well they're doing, but speaking of donuts, they still appear. I'm really surprised that Krispy Kreme still exists in Japan, and someone even thought to bring it over here in the first place, because palate-wise, I mean, it's incredibly sweet. They're incredibly greasy, sweet donuts, and I mean, when they're fresh, when they're right out of the cooking machine, the deep fryer, and when they roll through that curtain of glaze, there's nothing better. I mean, that's an amazing taste. That's real close to the funnel cake experience. That greasy, a sweet cake just brought out of the fryer, and then that oil is still hot, and you put powdered sugar on top of that, so that grease and sugar mix. That's the magic. That's that Krispy Kreme magic. So when they're brand new, and you can kind of simulate that a little bit, with the microwave, you can get that frosting to melt a little bit, get a little, a simulation of that fresh taste. But those donuts are great, but definitely from the American, state fair, booth stand, fair food stand tradition, that they just don't have him, and that's crazy sweet. I guess little kids here, not even. I mean, there's a lot of sweet, just sugar candy here, but that's that grease and sugar package is pretty overwhelming. So I'm surprised that they brought it here, and that it does well. I mean, anything when it first comes here gets a little bit of a line, a little bit of a lineup, just because it's new, and people like waiting in line for new tastes and exciting new experiences. But so even recently, Taco Bell, kind of, I think there was basically only Taco Bell on the army base, previous to this, and now Taco Bell is here. There's like 4 Taco Bells in Tokyo, and now 1 in And yeah, so that's a thing people actually lined up for. Can you imagine people making a line just to try Taco Bell? That's pretty amazing. So I am not sure what the state of it is now, but yeah. So Taco Bell is here, and I don't know. I mean, yeah, Japanese people and cheese aren't very compatible. So I'm surprised because I think everything's got cheese on it. Everything at Taco Bell's got cheese on it. So I'm very surprised. Uh, yeah, that's a thing as well. But Starbucks did it. They came here. I mean, this is a tea country, and they came here with their dark roast coffee, and they made it happen. They made it work. And not only did they make it popular, and I guess because it had that status. Remember in America when they were really spreading out the Starbucks, but they hadn't quite become so ubiquitous yet. They weren't just everywhere. You looked the status of that cup. Somebody walking around with a cup that just screamed, "Yeah, I just spent $5 on coffee." Uh, that worked really well here. I think the status, the fashion, of that cup, and so they probably opened in the stylish, nicer neighborhoods first, and so then rich kids were walking around with those cups, and then they did the same thing they did in America, where they just kind of branched out and expanded into gas stations and stores and bowling alleys or wherever the heck they are now. And yeah, but they did it. They really became a fixture here. So Starbucks is pretty common, although there is a lot more competition here, and there's a lot more variety of coffee shops because there's almost a more European or kind of British style of cake and coffee cafe where women like to meet, and there's some pretty nice and pretty high priced coffee rooms or tea rooms or coffee shops here that you don't see in America that don't have that competition. So even McDonald's and things has a lot of competition in Japan. But I was really surprised that Starbucks did what it did here, and especially with their 1,000 calorie crazy frappuccinos and stuff. They have so the maybe the flavors and everything they have to skew a little bit more, of course, towards the flavors and fruits and combinations that Japanese people like. There's a lot more matcha, I'm sure, in a Japanese Starbucks than there would be anywhere else. But yeah, they've really become a fixture. And so the interesting thing that they did is they made it non-smoking. So, and I'm not sure if that was a marketing attempt or what that was, but that definitely set them apart. That definitely reinforced the foreignness or the foreign nature of the business because you can smoke everywhere. And that was a place where absolutely no smoking, there's no ashtrays, nothing. And I think everywhere else that serves coffee, you can smoke, and especially the older, coffee bars and coffee shops, you can definitely smoke there. So that was a big departure from what people were used to, and I'm surprised that it worked. I'm surprised that people saw that as appealing, and I think it did have a lot to do with it reinforcing that it was not a domestic company. That it was that unfamiliar kind of different style of thing. So that's yeah, that was pretty interesting for me to see that. But it was just exactly that same sort of thing that I felt when I started seeing iPhones in Japan. That was really surprising because the flip phone was everywhere, and that was what was just standard, and people had learned the 12 key typing style for Japanese characters, so they could write very quickly, they could text and email very quickly on that more limited kind of phone. And then I think it was, I don't know if it was J phone at the time, Vodafone, the lowest kind of tier of the three big cell phone companies here, got the iPhone exclusively. Maybe it was SoftBank by that time. I can't remember how long ago that was. Losing all sense of time. Can't remember when exactly that was. I'm sure to look up, but a little occupied. But iPhone started showing up, and anything foreign here will get a little bit of attention. I mean, even like, a couple of people bought an Xbox when they came out here, just for curiosity's sake, or just to kind of show off. Yeah, I'm into foreign stuff. Foreign things are okay with me, and you saw the occasional iPhone. And I think because they stayed with that small form factor, that little 4-inch screen that was kind of too small for a lot of Western people's hands, they stayed with that here, and it has the status, the brand recognition, and the, oh yeah, it's a more premium brand, and that those sort of things always work well in Japan. So in that same way, the iPhone just you know got its claws into the market here, and then pretty much you were watching the Japanese cell phone companies play catch up and make their own iPhones, make their own smartphones. So you had Sony and Sharp and whoever else, Panasonic, I'm not sure what the other big makers of phones are here, making making it, something that looked exactly like an iPhone. So pretty much it looked like everyone had an iPhone very, very quickly because everyone had moved to smartphones. And I don't really know. Yeah, because even most of the time, the mobile websites and things that people were using in Japan are just very Spartan and just built utilitarian, possible, just very simple and nothing very interesting. So they operated fine on the traditional flip phones, flip mobile phones. So I don't know what held people or pushed them into the smartphone. I mean, I guess they started to market, reading manga, or a lot of people watching videos, so watching TV shows, or the also the not so popular now, but the OneSeg is a over-the-air television. I guess it's a radio frequency, a radio signal, or that they project, or that they broadcast the free television channels, the basic, like the big four channels on smartphones. So a lot of smartphones, or a lot of phones, even when they're flip phones, had the extra antenna in them. So they had the cellular antenna, but they also had this OneSeg technology antenna, and it took a while to take off. I think when they first released the technology, they said the only place you can clearly see the OneSeg picture, the TV picture clearly, would be standing underneath the Tokyo Tower, basically using that as an antenna to help boost the signal. It was a very terrible technology that didn't work very well, that had a lot of signal range problems. But eventually they got it together, and it worked pretty well. It was always you could always switch over to that if there was something coming on and you were on your way home and weren't going to be home to see. You could just switch the TV on your phone. So the free Japanese TV was really accessible on your phone, and so maybe things like that were kind of motivating people to enjoy the larger, like the whole screen of your phone, as with smartphones, the larger screen size or something for watching videos. I don't know exactly what it was, because the the input of Japanese remained the same. They still have the kind of 12 key entry, so they're still typing the same way, although you can type with a more keyboard style. I think there's you both versions. So I'm not sure if it was necessarily the input or what it was, but yeah, it took hold here, and then you just saw everyone holding smartphones that all looked like iPhones, and then the kind of the variation started, and Sony started to make their more identifiable, kind of more square, more hard corner, hard edged, glassy looking phones. And so then, yeah, you had a kind of variety of smartphones here. But that was amazing. That was really surprising to watch, and to see how they penetrated the market and just kind of stayed there. Because previous to that, I don't think there was any. I think Motorola and some other, like Nokia, were trying to make inroads into the Japanese market, but people were just they just stuck with their domestic brands. And especially because early on, just like I think has happened in America with the flip phones, is the carriers wrote their own software, so their own interface and their own mail client or whatever. So once you started using a particular company's phone, with a certain carrier, you kind of stuck with that, and you just bought the next model and the next model and the next model because you didn't have to relearn anything, and you had all the emojis you wanted or whatever. It was very familiar. I remember that being a factor, and people buying. People just buying the next one, the next one. Oh, this is the 403. Oh, okay, I get the 404, and then I get the 405 of the same model of phone, just for the familiarity and not having to spend time kind of relearning everything just to update your phone. But yeah, that all changed, and now there's I think the biggest cellular carrier in Japan is carrying Korean phones, the Samsung phone, which Samsung, the Galaxy, which is surprising because you could tell they tried very hard to keep Korean products, especially electronics, out of Japan for a while when Samsung was really doing nice monitors and started their Galaxy phone and the Note, and they were nowhere to be found in Japan. You had to basically go to specialty stores or import stores or just online shopping to find anything, because none of the big Japanese electronics retailers were carrying any of that. So I think it's starting to change a little bit, but I don't know. The reliability of Korean electronics is still, the quality is still dicey. I've had 100% satisfied, 100% dissatisfied experiences with exactly the same manufacturer, different products. So who knows? So what's going on here? So donuts. Talking about donuts made me draw donuts, but I'm sure that's where we're going. Oh yeah, maybe donuts and coffee. Yeah, so that's a thing. Coffee, that's a thing that I'm always surprised by. I don't know if it's the addictive nature of caffeine or what that is, but I hate, especially at night, watching television and people are drinking coffee on the show you're watching. I instantly want coffee, like just that taste. And it's funny because that's very dangerous for me to do because I'm pretty sensitive to caffeine, especially at night. So I'll just be up all night if I have coffee, late in the evening. So it's very funny that I constantly reaction every time watching TV. You just imagine that taste, and I don't know. I wonder if it is just the addictive nature of caffeine, and I don't know enough about addiction, and that's pretty much my. If it is addictive, it's my only addiction. The yeah, coffee just being so desirable. Just watching watching a moving picture of someone else drinking coffee makes you crave it. I definitely don't. At the times when I see those things, I definitely don't want to be more awake or don't want that hiccup of coffee. But yeah, just start craving the flavor. I guess it's similar to. It must be like that for smokers as well. Like people who have tried to quit smoking, they will see somebody in a movie smoke a cigarette, and that may be why smoking. Even when they weren't able to advertise it on television, did well because you had people in a movie smoking, and if you were ever addicted to cigarettes, you wanted to smoke as soon as you saw that. So that might be a thing that works, and coffee might be that same sort of thing, but they haven't proven coffee is killing us yet, or connected to heart disease, or anything very concretely. So I guess we'll wait for the end of big coffee. That'll when that medical data up. But yeah, that's a very funny thing. That reaction, you just immediately have that craving. I wonder if gamblers have that craving if they watch somebody, play blackjack in a movie or on television. They want to gamble. Might be that same sort of thing. uh, all right. So yeah, still not crazy about this mic position. I was surprised how, so, when I was doing it before, when you were looking at the back of my head, the microphone here, that was a pretty nice sound. It picked up, I didn't have to talk very loud and it kind of picked up everything. So maybe I'll try to figure out if I can do something like that again, where I can keep it off mic, but under where I'm speaking, so you can hear my voice that same way, and that might also help, with the background noise and things. Yeah, that may be possible. It's a little tricky. Yeah, this microphone is kind of heavy. If I find something, maybe if I find something smaller, that might be a good opportunity. This is kind of big and heavy, and if I can just put something on a little stand, that might make it easier. But for now, we'll just try that distance. So I've started to tease you with all that yummy close-up audio, but yeah, we're just going to use this mic position for now. And a napkin. Yeah, so I'm curious. I need to, I guess, pay attention now. Switching over to Twitch, I should pay attention to what people actually do on Twitch. What I'm doing may not have any point or purpose, or may not fit well with what's going on already. But wow, I got a whole little set here of donut magic. I guess that's what we're doing. Something with adorable donuts. Adorable donuts. But yeah, we'll get this figured out and find a good home for this stream and good schedule. And then it will be a thing. Oh, and also, so just recently, I guess, after the stream last week, I finally did it. I set up the Patreon for domestic abuse, for abuse cartoons, for drawing cartoons. So that's my big motivation, is to get back to the daily cartoon. I really think that the more of these, the better, and the more that I do them, the more I get the voice is more unified. The artwork kind of picks up in quality, and everything kind of has a nicer look to it. I really, when I look back at the when I was doing it daily, that was a great time, and I think I did some really fun work, and it was very consistent. So I'd really like to get back to that, but there's just no way, schedule wise, that I can fit that in, unless it was, actually replacing what my freelance work would be. So yeah, so set up a Patreon account, so patreon.com/abusecartoons. So yeah, if you like this, if you enjoy watching this and want more of it, and really want this as a more daily thing, which it should be. It's kind of, that's why it's small, and that's why it's sparse, and the kind of original intention of it was to be a daily cartoon. And so when I lost the ability to do that, I think it hurt the cartoon a lot, because it stopped making sense, as far as it is a daily cartoon, and isn't substantial enough that you want to wait a whole week to see the next one. So yeah, I'm really want to get back to doing it daily, and that, I mean, because that's really the original intention of this. And I think that it's noticeable that when it's not done daily, it just doesn't have the same feeling. So yeah, that's the dream, that's the goal, and I would really appreciate anybody that wanted to help make that happen, because yeah, that would be great. That would be ideal. And of course, as soon as it's back to daily, then it's going to be easier to produce more collections of the cartoons as well, because there'll be more content. So after that first 5 years, I already was close to 1,000 cartoons, so there was a lot to choose from doing collections. And now that I'm down to just doing 2 a week, that's 104 a year. So it's just not a lot. It's not a lot to collect. as far as picking the best and kind of or doing themes or things. It would be it would be amazing. It would be wonderful to be back to the daily schedule. So please help me make that happen. And yeah, I'll put the link in the info text. Let's let's get back to that schedule. That would be amazing. It's yeah, that was a real heartbreaker probably about 5 years ago, to just kind of have to step back and say I can probably do 2 of these a week, in my schedule and still be able to make a living. So that yeah, that was a heartbreaker. Great. Reclaim the schedule that this was kind of built around this idea. And then I think kind of the sparse look and feel. Where is that coffee cup? The sparse look and feel. There we go. Isn't going to seem so strange when there's more of it. And I think all my work kind of has that issue. It probably should there should be more of it and more often, because I always tend to have a kind of minimal look to a lot of things that I've done. We're kind of doing these a little bit differently. I'm jumping back and forth between these two ideas just to kind of play around with them. But and that's another thing that happens. When I'm doing this more consistently, I come up kind of with an approach and a technique that works well, and because I'm doing it more often, I can stay. I can stay with that. Yeah, just doing it as rarely as I do, I keep kind of changing approaches and thinking. And yeah, that I'm sure you've noticed there's a bit of inconsistency. I'll kind of hit strides or try certain things that just don't work as well, or kind of give a different tone or a different feel to the cartoon. So it would be nice to get back to some consistency. Oh. But yeah, so that's I'm sure I'll keep mentioning that throughout. The occasional the occasional little message there to kind of help. Oh, did I totally did I completely white out the? Oh no, I didn't. Oh, I'm just stuck on white. Yeah, I'm sure you'll hear that plea a couple more times. I don't want it to be like public radio. That's the difficulty. I mean, that's the reluctance that I had. Thinking about Patreon and things is, that was the pledge weeks, or always the pledge drives and things were everyone's least favorite part of public radio, and they consider it kind of a necessary evil. But that's just hard to hear again and again. So I just wanted to set it up and just have it be a thing that people could find. And so they enjoyed the cartoon and wanted it to to happen more often, then there's a way to make that happen. I think that's a much better approach, because it's hard to listen to all that if you could just. So that's that, and we're trying to I'm still stuck in the white. Just shaker. That's another one of those standard things for a while. The fast food paper cup with the straw, and the milk carton were pretty standard things that looked almost the same every time you threw them. And but I think one of the earliest things was salt and pepper. I think I'm still the exact same look. Still, salt and pepper still have same look as they did. I mean, hopefully, so there's a little bit more going on, but yeah, still have the very similar look to how they did when it first happened. All right. Okay, well, I think that'll work. All right, so I'll quit okaying and yepping microphone. I know that doesn't sound great. Oh, all right. So I think we have the line work for both of these. Yeah, they're kind of busy. That's nice. Busier than usual. Do one of those. Oh, yeah, do one of those ugly green 70s colors for the bowl. It's a little too fluorescent. Yeah, maybe a more mint. Yeah, there we go. The potato. All right. More muted brown. Yeah, I still wonder if there is a better approach because, everyone has or have the ability to kind of pre-record this drawing and then talk over it. I mean, that, basically takes twice as long. I have to do everything twice. Or, I can condense it down. I can speed up the drawing process. But I wonder if that's a better approach. I don't know, because the talking and drawing, I'm not sure how much of a benefit there is to having this like giant archive of these very long-winded, maybe not that interesting to listen to all at once, but I guess things in the background are still pretty wonderful. That's still one of the nice things about the internet is people are still producing a lot of long form things, and I guess you do see a lot of live streaming. I don't watch a lot of live streams, and I guess because the big motivation is you're participating in the community of it, so you're interacting and talking to other people, and that's something I haven't gotten going yet with this. And I guess it's just something that you have to figure out how to make happen. But it's not. Yeah, I'm not often even a lot of channels that I follow or subscribe to. I feel motivated. Oh, yeah, this has got to go. I'm not really motivated to watch their live streams, and then when they're archived as well, it's kind of like, well, I wasn't there, and a lot of people. The thing that I want to keep from doing, that I notice a lot of people do, is be talking to a chat log, be talking to a chat stream, and so people watching that as an archive then just like, hey, such and such 4278, yeah, I agree with you, and just like that's the difficulty, or that's the thing that I never enjoyed about Twitter. If you're kind of using it or accessing it the wrong way, you're just hearing these weird fragments of conversation amongst hashtags and at tags or whatever they're called. And it's just not a very comfortable or natural way to interact with people or want to interact. I know it's this big global conversation that people love to abuse and have their hysterical opinions in, but yeah, it's not a great interface, and just kind of ridiculous that that's become the default. That I think there's a lot of clients that have made it a little more interesting or a little bit more accessible to use, but I remember early on that was such a huge turnoff. Why care if I'm actually hearing somebody that I'm interested in, or somebody that I follow their work, or like their comedy, or like their writing, or like their music. I don't care to watch them say thanks at whatever, and oh, you too at whatever, and yeah, that was just silly. I don't understand why you want to just be a voyeur of like people's weird fragmented conversations, but that is the way of things. So I hope to try to resist becoming that sort of uninteresting, not that I'm saying this is particularly that much more interesting, but that kind of uninteresting tone is just not being able to just sit and kind of listen to this conversation. I think should be better, maybe more interesting than just interacting with the community and archiving that. I'm not sure, but who knows, that might be how it works, because that's probably how people are building communities. Is you watch an archive of somebody's live stream, like, wow, that he's really funny and he's really interacting with people and makes them feel connected. So I want to get in on that. So I don't know. Chocolate is at a really weird angle. Gonna Not gonna happen. But right, well, we'll see. That's what it's gonna have to be. All right. Place them surface. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it's it's a funny thing. Yeah, one thing I haven't, since I've started doing this, the one thing that I haven't looked at since is I think something that's entering back into that nostalgia pop culture, about the Bob Ross painting on PBS, that show that he used to have, because he would be talking the whole time, like he'd be instructional, and he'd be talking, and the microphone would be picking up his stippling the brush against the canvas, and everything. So that's funny. I wonder how that's aged, and how that informs, like, what would make an interesting art stream. I'm not sure it would, but yeah, it'd be funny to look back at. Yeah, there's got to be something he was doing right. Uh, yeah, it's very strange how those things keep kind of bouncing in and out of pop culture. I think it probably just the what was it, the Deadpool promotion. I don't know that. Yeah, probably brought that back into the pop culture awareness of people that weren't old enough, or maybe that still is on television. I can't even remember, but there were a few painters, instructional painters, with their own PBS shows. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, when you just had nothing, nothing else going on, could maybe watch a bit of that. But yeah, I wonder. If people actually painted along, those maniacs. That would be a real funny. That would be a funny thing to see. Funny thing to know is how popular that actually was. Yeah, I can't imagine. Wow. Setting up a canvas on an easel in front of the television and following along with a PBS instructional painter. Wow. Okay. That's a funny image, and that's a funny thing that had to have happened. Somebody had to do that. Yeah. Yeah, and I wonder if it was kind of the retirees, like it would be. Yeah, that's the frustrating. I think I've already complained about that as well, but that's the one frustrating thing about Japan, is the art supply stores are pretty garbage here and overpriced. There's not a lot of value there's not a lot of effort, I guess, to make affordable art supply stores or things, and maybe I just haven't looked near the where art colleges would be or art schools would be here. Maybe there are some alternatives, but the art supply that you do find are insanely overpriced for rich, probably widows, that are whiling away their golden years, doing landscape oil painting or whatever. So the price of everything is just outrageous. If you're stupid enough to, try to shop at one of those stores, they'll punish you with, double prices for things that should be much more affordable. That was real miserable. Here is when I was thinking about getting back into painting, just the more accessible art supply places were just outrageous, insanely priced. So it was a big deterrent, to say the least, to getting back into, not digital, so doing something more analog. The work, but Eric E. Brand, my hybrid McDonald's Mossburger logos. There we go. Probably do some coffee or something. Oh yeah, so I switched the I think there's a little discussion of that last week. Switched the color picker back into the viewable window so you can enjoy my picking colors. I don't know how important that is to watch, but yeah, some information you can see, like going warmer or cooler, or trying to stay in the same group, or how some of those decisions are made. Should be useful, and I guess it adds a little bit more visual excitement compared to what else is going on. Yeah, so that's the thing I'm still not 100% certain of, is that this is visually interesting enough to watch as a live stream, and there might be other things that I do that might make better content, but we'll find those eventually. Some feedback or lack of feedback would actually also answer that question about what's a better approach, or if this is a good way to do this. But it's hard to, like I said, hard to get away from the regular schedule this gives. Starting to get addicted to that, so it'd be hard if no one ever watches to want to stop, because yeah, this puts in a nice schedule. Here we go. Back, maybe take this down a little bit so it's more printed on there, and top of. Should also add a little bit. Oh, that's something I also reinforce then with this. Oh, is that going to do what I want? Yeah, maybe. Have, get a little more dimension, a little more heavy. Back and reinforce that a little more. Guess we can go that much. Maybe not. Maybe just down. Highlight and not a. Yeah, interesting. And also, is that enough though? Maybe. Yeah, enough. Get across the texture. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. Oh, and that's paper. That's shiny. And then some of these edges will pick up to great thing. Pieces in the bag. Yeah, I think it'll work. Oh, sorry, no more yes, no more yeps. I noticed that with podcasting, do that a little bit too much. So you have this, yep, yeah, okay, and that's real hard to listen to. So I know that it is, and I'm working to stop it. But those things. All right, so a little bit of the shadow here. And on everything. This is the part of the live stream where my caffeine levels are fading, so I don't. I get less talkative. I wonder if that's a real exit cue for a lot of people. Just like things start to get quiet, just hear traffic and breathing, and then switch to somebody that's a little more chatty. But yeah, it seems like, what are we at now? Once I hit the, I don't know. Oh wait, it's on. Once I hit the hour mark, yeah, it's an hour 16. I usually lose a little bit of energy. So apologies again for not doing that thing, but yeah. Well, there we go. There's a whole delicious. That's a giant donut. Oh well. All right. Donuts and potatoes and chocolate. Yeah, see, things are a little bit different scale too with the way that I'm doing it, so I need to be more careful about that because people will be flipping definitely between cartoons, and there's a lot of the look is very different between those two. So another to try to improve, and with more regularity, that will happen. I'll find that the style will kind of come back to what's been going on, and yeah, get a get a jump in consistency, and the writing too. I mean, I think with the a bigger demand that the weekly cartoon puts on, I think that also helps the writing because I start to archive, and I really can't come up with so much kind of off the top of the head, so I'm gonna have to start collecting ideas and elaborating on things and kind of developing things a little bit more. That will help as well. All right. Okay. So donuts. It looks like the whole meal. Oh man, did something on my shoulder this morning. It's killing me. Cold weather. You're all tightened up and just kind of getting dressed. I did something weird. So I've got that to complain about. So yeah, this will eventually, as the years go on, this will eventually just be a discussion of medical conditions. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Yeah, and then I got this thing in my knee, and yeah, my finger doesn't do what it used to, and wow, that would make for some content. Uh, okay, so let's get to the writing. I think I've got the artwork. Oh, no, I don't. Pretty close for both of these. Whoa, 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 whoa. But I need to get a few missing. Yeah, I must have stopped mid-sentence. Look at that. Something distracted me. Maybe my reaching for the coffee. I was going on about at that point, but all right, that works. Oh, okay. So, sorry. Away from the mic. That's gotta sound great too. All right. So, he could. Whoa, he could. Imagine. Yeah, he couldn't imagine. No, 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 no. Couldn't quite put the pieces together. Yeah, I'm writing a novel. Well, short and punchy. I don't know if that's too open-ended, but if you watch the stream, you'll know exactly what I'm referring to. Chocolate-covered potato chips. All right. Yeah, I don't know. He couldn't quite put the pieces together. Let's leave it there for a second. Let's see where we are. All right, so we're talking about breakfast or donuts or sweetness. Oh, sorry. Wow, so rambled on about Valentine. Next week I'll have another exciting, I think it will have been a Japanese holiday. I think it's February 3rd. Yeah. Setsubun. Setsubun. So the kind of the equivalent, or the in origin maybe the equivalent to Halloween. So usually the dad or someone on the little oni mask, or maybe even a whole outfit if they have that, and you throw dried beans, these little specific Japanese ame, at the oni, the ogre, the monster, to make him go away, to make the bad luck go away. So you can, throw them out your front door, or throw them at your dad dressed in a ogre mask, and it's the the idea. So giving candy to the trick-or-treaters, to the kids dressed as monsters coming to your door, makes the bad luck go away, because they trick or treat, the treat gets rid of your bad luck. So the same idea, you throw the beans, and onis don't like beans, so they run away from the beans. And also you eat the number of beans you eat a number of those beans for the number of years old you are, which I don't know where that comes from. And also a regional variation on that, I think a sushi owner of a sushi shop came up with the idea to make this roll sushi that is uncut, so it's one long piece, and you silently eat the whole thing on Setsubun as well. So it's a more regional, more Kansai tradition of eating this rolled-maki kind of long sushi. Yeah, as a good luck ritual. And I don't know why you do it silently, but that's pretty funny. Sit and stuff this roll sushi in your mouth. So that's the holiday that I guess will happen before the next stream, so we can talk about that after if it comes up. But that's the closest equivalent, and kind of why there isn't trick or treating, and because I kind of already have taken care of that idea. All right. Okay, so glazed. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Oh. Yeah, I don't. Hmm. Yeah, balance this. Yeah, so I was kind of just rambling on about. Yeah, I forgot when I'm writing these, I need to talk out loud, so I'm just kind of sitting silently and knocking things around in my head, but I should be talking through this because that's much more instructional than listening to me grunt and scratch my head. Uh, yeah, so originally I was talking about Krispy Kreme being here and being too sweet and not knowing how it could have possibly fit here. Oh, and so I'm gonna fuss this while I'm thinking about that. And yeah, so it's a real surprising combination that I don't believe worked as well as it did. And who knows how well it worked because none of the stores have closed. I don't think any of the original stores have closed, but they're not doing amazing business. I think it's a little bit cheaper coffee, but yeah, I don't think people are ordering multiples of donuts. And the funny thing is too, the Krispy Kreme in the U.S. has the dozen donut box, that big flat, almost a large pizza box sized box of donuts. And here, the biggest they have is donuts. I don't think people have ever ordered 12. That's a dozen donuts. That's funny because I can remember buying several dozens of donuts. Several dozen donuts. In my younger days in the U.S. and not even thinking twice about it. And here, I don't think you can get a dozen of anything. You can't get a dozen roses. You can't get a dozen anything. Maybe eggs. Eggs would be the only thing you can buy in that sort of quantity here. But most other things are not sold by the dozen. Okay. Uh, hmm. It seemed like a lot of work. It seemed like quite a crowd was involved in a donut and coffee. Let's. Donut felt simple glazed. Oh, that might be a fun, yeah, Krispy Kreme idea. The simple glazed donut propping up an entire brand. Uh, yeah, that might be. Yeah, that might be something there. Oh, simple. Oh, felt tremendous. No, pressure. Yeah. Yeah, because I did so much. I did so much branding on all the napkins, bags, and stuff that might be good. Felt the tremendous pressure. Felt a. Wow, that's terrible. Okay, the simple glaze donut felt tremendous pressure. Felt the pressure. Propping up. These I don't know. Prop up thing. Yeah, I don't think I want to write it that way any. Don't know. Yeah, glazed donuts and brand. Yeah, and maybe for the joke work a bit better, I'll switch the colors. Or color green, maybe. Yeah, kind of do a muted color. This. Not that. I'm gonna be a little lighter. Yeah, I think that might work better. That looks. Yeah, okay. That can do. All right. Somehow. Full glazed donut need to support in it. Somehow, maybe somehow is full glazed donut supported. Entire brand. Yeah, somehow a simple glazed donut supported in it. All right. So I don't know if I come across glazed donuts. Better than propping. Oh, stop it. Calling that one word. Yeah, that one word. Nuts. Couldn't quite put the pieces together. Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, simple and short, I think, is better than wordy and confusing and over elaborate. Oh, all right. So, that's great. So, there we have it. Did we do it? Oh, again, an hour 30. These amazing streams. Okay, so the first one is a simple glazed donut supported, somehow, a simple glazed donut supported an entire brand. There are spaces in there? That looks a little odd. Yes, there are here, but somehow a simple glazed donut supported an entire brand. And you couldn't quite put the pieces together. All right. Chocolate covered potato chips. Wow. All right. Well, thank you for joining me, and I'll let you know next week how these are doing. Yeah. So Pringles and chocolate. We'll see. I think maybe actual potato chips might be a better combination. We'll find out. So yeah, thanks for joining me, and yeah, if you'd like to follow the cartoon, we're at Twitter at Abuse Cartoons, abusecartoons.com, on Facebook, and the YouTube channel. Just search Abuse Cartoons. And this will be archived there on the YouTube channel, and of course Twitch TV/Abuse Cartoons. And yeah, please follow and take a look if you want more of this and you want to see this more regularly, and get yourself a book, get yourself some original drawings, something. Take a look at the Patreon at patreon.com/abusecartoon, and support what's going on. And hopefully we can make this a daily thing, a daily event again. So thanks a lot for watching, and I will next week. Goodbye.